Welcome everyone, this is it, the moment you've been waiting for. Introducing the all-new 2026 Harley-Davidson WLA. Look at this machine.
World obsessed with speed, digital dashboards, and futuristic engineering, very few machines still carry the smell of history in their metal. But the 2026 Harley-Davidson WLA is one of those rare motorcycles that doesn't just move forward, it brings the past roaring back to life. It's not a re-release. It's not a tribute. It's a resurrection. And the moment you hear that first ignition crackle, you immediately understand why Harley-Davidson risked everything to bring back the most legendary military motorcycle ever made. The mystery surrounding this bike doesn't start with its engine. It starts with its purpose. Why would Harley-Davidson take a war machine from 1942? A motorcycle built for muddy fields, harsh winters, and battlefront chaos, and bring it into the modern world? Why revive a machine that was famous not for luxury but survival? As you go deeper, you begin to realize the answer is hidden inside the frame, because the WLA was never just a motorcycle. It was a symbol, a companion, a warrior. And in 2026, Harley-Davidson decided the world needed a warrior again. Asterisk before we get to the modern upgrades. There's something you need to understand about the original WLA. More than 90,000 units were produced during World War II. Soldiers trusted these machines like brothers. They carried messages, hauled supplies, scouted dangerous terrain, and survived conditions that would destroy normal motorcycles in hours. The 2026 model captures this spirit with almost spiritual accuracy, but then injects modern engineering that transforms the WLA from a historic relic into a living beast. Harley didn't simply restore the past, they engineered a new definition of durability. Asterisk. When you first walk up to the 2026 WLA, the first thing that hits you is the stance. Tall, solid, tactical. It looks rugged enough to survive a war and refined enough to turn heads on a modern boulevard. Harley has kept the iconic olive drab color scheme matte-coated with military precision. No chrome, no excessive shine. Everything looks purposeful. You feel like you're not walking toward a motorcycle, you're walking toward a mission. Asterisk. Then your eyes meet the heart of the beast. A new fuel-injected 1200cc V-twin, built to mimic the torque profile of the old 739cc flathead, but with strength that soldiers in 1942 could only dream of. Harley did not chase horsepower numbers here. They chased reliability, predictable torque, low-end grunt, the kind of engine that doesn't scream, it growls. And that growl feels like a salute to the past. Asterisk, but the part that surprises people the most is the riding experience. You might expect it to feel old school, stiff, maybe even outdated. But the moment you grip the handlebars, you realize Harley engineered something completely unexpected. The suspension has been modernized with a hidden damping system inside the classic Springer front forks. The rear remains hardtail in appearance but secretly includes a compact shock system integrated into the frame. You get the look of a 1940s military bike, but the comfort of a modern cruiser, something nobody expected Harley to pull off. Asterisk when you start riding. That's where the transformation becomes unbelievably clear. The WLA doesn't bend its identity for comfort, nor does it resist modern technology. It blends both. The throttle response is smooth yet authoritative. The handling feels heavier than a sport bike but more grounded than any cruiser in its class. At low speeds, it feels obedient. At mid-range, it feels dependable. And at higher speeds, it feels like it's whispering, "I've survived worse than this." Asterisk, this bike wasn't built for racing. It was built for loyalty, for durability, for the kind of rider who cares more about connection than numbers. And that's exactly why Harley installed selective technology instead of overloading it. You get ABS, you get traction control, you get a concealed digital module with basic diagnostics. But that's it. No massive screen, no flashy interface. Harley wants your eyes on the world, not on a menu system. This is a warrior, not a toy. Asterisk. But here's where the emotional punch of the WLA hits harder than any engine. Specification, the connection it creates with the rider. The original WLA was nicknamed the Liberator because it served in missions that literally changed the course of history. It wasn't just a machine. It was a witness, a partner, a survivor. The 2026 version channels that spirit. When you ride it, you don't just feel like you're controlling a motorcycle. You feel like you're carrying a legacy. Harley-Davidson even added subtle historical elements for those who pay attention. The ammo storage box, the leather rifle scabbard option, the blackout headlamp with a modern LED core hidden inside, the rugged steel crash bars, and the iconic solo saddle redesigned with suspension that adjusts to rider weight. They even kept the signature side-mounted license plate bracket used on old military transports. Each piece isn't just a design choice, it's a reminder, but the big reveal that Harley teased for months is the survival mode system. Yes, survival mode, a feature inspired directly from the WLA's wartime role. Flip it on, and the motorcycle switches to a low-power reliability map. Limited throttle. Reduced fuel consumption. Minimum electronics. Maximum endurance. If you were stranded somewhere remote, this mode could be the difference between walking and riding home. It's a feature no other modern motorcycle even attempts, and it instantly sets the WLA apart as a machine built for real-world resilience. And that brings us to the emotional core of this entire motorcycle. The WLA isn't about nostalgia. It's about meaning. In a time where motorcycles often feel like expensive gadgets, the WLA feels like a companion that refuses to abandon you. You don't buy this bike for trends. You buy it because you want something that stands for loyalty, grit, history, and courage. Something that feels alive. Every ride becomes a story. Every story becomes a memory. And every memory becomes part of the identity of the WLA itself. You aren't just riding a motorcycle. You're becoming part of a legacy that started in the toughest years of the 20th century, and now lives again in 2026. And here's the twist. This motorcycle was deliberately built for a specific kind of rider. The one who wants meaning over speed. The one who wants identity over tech. The one who values presence over distraction. Harley created the WLA not for the masses, but for the individuals who ride with purpose. For the ones who understand that sometimes, the strongest machines are the ones forged during the hardest times. This is why the 2026 Harley-Davidson WLA stands out so dramatically in the modern motorcycle world. It's a bridge between eras. A machine that carries history without being trapped by it. A warrior returning to duty not to fight a war, but to remind the world what strength, loyalty, and purpose look like. And when you turn off the ignition after your first ride, the engine clicks quietly as it cools, like a heartbeat slowing down. And at that moment, you finally understand the truth. Harley didn't revive the WLA to honor the past. They revived it to inspire the future. And if you're the kind of rider who believes a motorcycle can have a soul, then the 2026 WLA isn't just a bike, it's calling your name.